Welcome to History Hijacked, the podcast where we talk history in any means or manner to get the information across to you, the listener. Episode 1, Colonization of Africa in the Middle East in the Form of Imperialism. Where to start other than the beginning with the Berlin Conference. African nations and leaders were purposely left out of the Berlin Conference in 1884 and 1885. The question being asked is, should leaders of the African nations have been invited in the conference? Yes or no, and why or why not? So, if we're looking in from a current perspective of how it changed the world, only one answer sticks out, and that is, of course, the African leaders should have definitely been included. Looking back, it's easy to see that the Berlin Conference is a clear moment within the confines of the colonizations of Africa and India that sets in motion every other event that will come. The Berlin Conference is seen as an event where the nations of Europe came together and decided how they would separate themselves in African colonization. A quote from world history textbooks summarizes this quite well. They further agreed that a European power could not claim any part of Africa unless it had set up a government office there. This moment here changes the course of world history forever. From this moment onward, Europeans have full control over what they do to Africans without being able to be asked why or how they did so. This leads to conflicts on a whole new level of cruelty. Of course, Brennan, what do you think about this stuff?
I think that it's just wrong, to not include the Africans themselves, like their own land into the conference. It's just like it's their own land, so they should have a say in what they want to do with their land and how to divide it up.
Okay, interesting. All right, next question. How did European powers justify their imperialism in Africa, India, or other non-European lands, and what impact did this have on colonized people? European powers believed that the people they were colonizing were less than human and used their beliefs that they were superior to them in every way as motivation, sometimes stating in letters that they were helping the people become better and that it was for a good cause, when in reality, the torture and abuse was almost on an unbearable level. The Congo, the place where Belgian colonizers showed this torture, almost better than anyone else. The Belgians would force the people of the Congo to collect rubber. If they were too slow or not good enough, the wives and children would have hands cut off, they would be mutilated. It got so bad that at a point, the people of Belgium would cut off the hands of Congo people just to meet a status quota, selling the hands for money as well. Robert Caseman, a British reporter, went to the Congo to get rid and see the gist of this situation, and this is one of the things he had to put in his report. I saw a woman coming back from the surrounding forest where they had hidden themselves. I met some of these returning women in one of the fields and asked them why they had run away at my approach. And they said, smiling, "We thought you were Bulamata, or the men of the Belgian government." This being put in the report shows a very clear understanding that Robert had seen and realized the atrocious crimes that had been going on in the Congo. Editing me here, so during the recording, I actually had some audio issues and this entire part just got cut, so I'm going to re-record the audio right now. During the Berlin Conference and the Congo, when Belgium was torturing the people, above we see a quote that happened. Mr. Morel's speech provoked a vigorous reply from George Herbert, head of Cambridge, England in defense of King Leopold. Mr. Head said, in part, Mr. Morel has treated with splendid scorn the idea that there is any commercial motive in the mind of England, but in every prophet, in every speech, in every document that I have ever seen coming from this Congo Reform Association, they start with humanitarian and end with mechanism. What do you think about if Europeans were justified with how they went about colonization and how it impacted the people they colonized?
I think that it wasn't justified. I think the reason why they tried to justify it was so that they're agents in the Congo would think it was for a good cause. It was mostly just to justify for themselves and not for other people.
And the final question is, what was the British takeover of India, and was it actually a blessing in disguise, or did it actually just improve the life of the citizen in the end? India had many positives, yet still ended up a disaster. Early on, Britain gave India many advancements of technology and many other benefits of a society in things like railroads, better buildings, schools, and many other important factors in a society. These things gave the Indian citizens newfound hope and a blessing that could not be taken, as they went from an ancient to new. Although the people of India were given power and some economic worth with work involved. With that, the people of Britain used India as an economic area and we used their people as factory workers and other job types as a way to better the Britain people. Yet after a crash in industrial creations, the people of India were left poverty-stricken in a disastrous situation that was mostly impossible to recover from. A quote from The Discovery of India, the John Day Company, shows this in a better way. It supplied raw material and provided markets for England's industrial goods. The destruction of industry led to unemployment on a vast scale. The poverty of the country grew. The standard of living fell to terribly low levels. And now, even 100 years later, India is still mostly a poverty-stricken country. Alright, Mr. Brennan, would you say that it was a blessing in disguise for Britain to take over India, or do you say that in the end, the effects of what happened were too much?
I don't know, it's kind of like a 50-50 way. This is because like Britain gave India like railroads, schools, canals, and all like benefits sort of, but then India lost like, complete control over their government and the country itself. So I'm kind of leaning towards the side of no, it wasn't a blessing in disguise, because I feel like government control is more important than little benefits you get out through other countries give you.
And that concludes History Hijacked, Episode 1.